This is the morning sports desk for Thursday, February 1st. No CJ today. I'm Corey, so let's just dive right on into it. Lots of stuff to cover here today, of course, with high school sports. We'll take a look at some Timberwolves news, and we'll kind of get in and out in a hurry here today. First things first, we do have high school sports, Park Region Conference boys basketball on our schedule this evening. On 105.9 FM, the Superstation K106, and on your Superstation, the K106 app, and online at Radio-Wadena.com. Park Region Conference boys basketball, Henning Hornets will host the Sebeka Trojans. Let's take a closer look at each of our teams in that one. Henning is the top team in the Park Region Conference. They're 9-0 in PRC play this season, 16-2 overall. The Hornets are averaging 67 points per game and giving up just 48.5 per game. They have a QRF rating of 84.5 and have a 9-game winning streak. The Sebeka Trojans are 4-5 in Park Region Conference play, right in the middle of the pack. We mentioned Henning number 1 at 9-0. Then Wadena Deer Creek is 8-1. Pillager is 6-3. And then we're jumbled up with Bertha Hewitt, Sebeka, and Monaga each at 4-5. Verndale's 1-8. New York Mills is 0-9. Sebeka 4-5 in the PRC, 7-10 overall. They average 58.4 points per game, give up 63.6 points per game, have a QRL value of 34.6, and are on a 1-game losing streak. For the Henning Hornets, we mentioned that big winning streak most recently. A Thursday, January 25th victory on the road at Pillager, 69-53 was the final score. Going back a couple more wins over Monaga, Browerville Eagle Valley, Bertha Hewitt, Ada Borup West, New York Mills, Verndale, Staples Motley, and Wadena Deer Creek. There is their 9-game winning streak. We mentioned their QRF value of 84.5. They're ranked 9th in Class A boys basketball and do represent Section 6A. We're going to take a look at those section standings here in just a minute because they're becoming more and more relevant each and every single day. The Sebeka Trojans mentioned in on a 1-game losing streak. They lost at Walker Hackensack Akeley 76-59 Tuesday night, January 30th, just a couple of nights ago. A win before that over Verndale, 84-8. A loss at home to Underwood and in overtime to Long Prairie Gray Eagle. A win back on the 19th over Pine River Bacchus. And then a handful of losses before that. Their QRF rating 34.6. They're ranked 108th in Class A boys hoops. We mentioned 6A or section basketball is right around the corner. I mean, when you look at these schedules now, we are well over halfway. If you include tonight's game, 8 games left on the calendar for the Henning Hornets. And for the Sebeka Trojans, again, if you include tonight's game, 9 games left in the regular season. Henning is the top team in Section 6A North. Again, they're ranked 9th overall in the state, according to the QRF. Ranked number 1 in 6A North, there's 11 teams in that subsection in order. Henning, Ada Borup West, Hillcrest Lutheran Academy, Park Christian, Norman County East Ulan Hitterdal, Underwood, Battle Lake, Lake Park Audubon, Frazee, Rothsay, and New York Mills. West Central area is the top team in the south standings of Section 6A. They are ranked 2nd in the state. The Sebeka Trojans are in Section 5A. They are 5th in Section 5A West. Nevis is the top team there. Nevis Tigers ranked 18th in Class A. In order, Nevis, Browerville Eagle Valley, Bertha Hewitt, Walker Hackensack Akeley, Sebeka, Long Prairie Gray Eagle, Pine River Bacchus, Verndale, and LaPorte. Again, the Trojans, number 5 of 9 in that subsection. East Central is the number 1 team in the East subsection of Section 5A. There's 10 teams in that subsection. East Central is ranked 17th overall. So again, the Henning Hornets host the Sebeka Trojans tonight. 7:15 pregame, 7:30 tip on 105.9 FM, the Superstation K106. Also, on your Superstation K106 app and WadenaRadio.com. I'll have the call of that one this evening. Looking forward to that one a lot. Moving into our state sports, the Timberwolves got a really big win last night. They played the Dallas Mavericks at the Target Center, and Dallas was without kind of anybody who mattered. Luka Doncic didn't play. Kyrie Irving didn't play. And on top of Dallas not having their guys, Timberwolves, they went off 121-87, the final score. Carl had 29 points, 9 rebounds. Rudy went for 17 points. Not much to say. The Timberwolves just dominated that game. And they'll host next Orlando tomorrow night. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off. Friday night, that would be. And Houston on Sunday for a 6 o'clock tip-off. Both of those games are at the Target Center. Nothing to say about the Timberwolves other than this was a game they needed to win. They did win. They won it handily, which is even better. And, they've got a couple more winnable games here coming up this weekend, and they just need to keep playing winning basketball. They're doing just that. Anthony Edwards, he ended up getting fined $40,000. Remember, he was pretty critical of the officials after their win over Oklahoma City on Monday night. He called them terrible. I believe the $40,000 fine that he got for, criticizing the officials might be one of the biggest ever, if not the biggest fine ever brought down by the NBA. They said it was because he was fined for repeatedly criticizing the officials. That's like, the quote from the NBA. And, there's lots of discussions around NBA officiating. Obviously, that's a ton of money. He's got enough to pay for it. There's a lot of different ways you can take this conversation. The first thing, especially when it comes to the Timberwolves, is they don't often show the best maturity when it comes to handling officiating. That just goes back years now. Karl Anthony Towns probably the biggest culprit of all of that, but Anthony Edwards also gets into that mix. But after a lot of conversations with a lot of different people, be it CJ or college roommates and friends, one of the things that comes up is Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns just don't get officiated the same way as some of these other players in the league. And you can argue if Anthony Edwards is a superstar, like Joel Embiid is a superstar. You can argue if Karl Anthony Towns is a superstar, like Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic or anything like that. You can have those arguments, and that's fine. The point is they are officiated differently than those sorts of players. And I think as Timberwolves fans, do we want Karl and Ant to handle this a little bit better? Yeah, of course. But really, I think what we're hoping for is, can't you just officiate everybody the same? Like, I don't need Anthony Edwards to shoot 28 free throws a game, right? Joel Embiid scored 70 the other night, and he shot, 28 free throws? Something like that, 24 free throws? He was over 20 free throws. Insane. It's not fun to watch. There's no pace to those games. There's no flow to those games. It's just give the ball to Joel and let him score either at the rim or at the free throw line. And they figured out they're very good. They figured out that that's the best way that they have a chance to win ball games. So I can't hold that against them. But they're also doing it that way because they're bailed out all the time. And I don't need Anthony Edwards to be bailed out. I don't need Karl Anthony Towns to be bailed out by officiating. What I need is for the officiating to not be bailing out Joel Embiid and James Harden, Luka Doncic, and name a player. And that's what I think Timberwolves fans, what I as a fan want more than anything. Like just call these games right, call them fair, and quit bailing players out with 30 free throws a game. It's insane, and it's not a fun watch. And if you can bring everybody else back down to the pack and start officiating those guys, I don't need Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns officiated like those guys. I need those guys officiated down to like what Ant and Carl are at. Does that make sense? I don't know, it's a frustrating watch. Those games are hard to watch. So I understand Anthony Edwards' frustration because he thinks he's a superstar. We all want him to be a superstar. He's maybe like a step away from that rung on the ladder yet, but he's right there. And maybe those calls will start coming. But we need to decide as fans, is that the sort of basketball that we need? Do we need Anthony Edwards at the free throw line 30 times a game? Is that the sort of basketball we want to watch? And I submit it is not. Anyway, they play again tomorrow night. I mentioned they'll host Orlando Friday night at 7, then again Houston on Sunday at 6. And that's kind of the upcoming Timberwolves schedule. Going to be weird. No NFL football this weekend. We got to wait a week for the Super Bowl to happen. Other than that, there's not much today. Park Region Conference boys basketball, as a reminder, on the Superstation, Sebeka at Henning, 7:15 pregame with a 7:30 tip. It's the morning sports desk for the 1st of February.